Welcome back, everybody. We're at Park Inn by Radisson, and we've been talking about veganism today. It's something that a lot of people are curious about and thinking of getting into, and that's what we're trying to do, to demystify it. And for this segment, I've got two ladies who are vegans, so we get to hear it straight from them, what it's actually like, if it's really fun, if you're just like half vegan. So I've got Georgina Wanjiku, and I've also got Chelsea Mwaniki. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you.
So Georgina, let's start with you.
Okay.
How long have you been a vegan?
I've been a good vegan, and I'll explain what that means. I've been a good vegan for the last 3 years.
Okay.
And experimenting vegan probably about 4 or 5 years.
Okay, now I need the breakdown.
Okay. By good vegan, and that's my own classification and based on, your vegan card, is basically I stuck to the principles of completely no animal products.
Okay.
So the easiest thing for me to give up initially was meat and all sorts of meat, chicken, fish. That was easy.
Yeah.
The hardest was cheese. And Jesus, it was a journey.
It was tough.
And so every once in a while, when nobody would know, I'd like sneak in like a cube of like Gouda cheese or like mozzarella.
Yeah.
And then, for like 2 weeks I'd feel horrible. But for the most part, I would say 99% of my diet was plant-based, no animal products, but then that occasional sneaking in. But for the last 3 years,
you've been good.
You've been
good
vegan.
Good vegan.
Yeah.
Okay, and what about you? Chelsea, you're only 16, aren't you?
Yes.
16.
Yeah, I'm turning 17 in a couple months.
Okay, so how long have you been vegan? Yeah.
At the moment, it's about 2.5 months.
Okay.
Because last year I had also gone vegan for 2 months in the beginning of the year.
Okay.
And I thought, why not try it again, this time 2 more months, so I'm going until May. And then next year, maybe 6, like easing my way into it.
Like Roseanne was telling us, to sort of like ease your way into it. So why the decision to become vegan, Georgina?
For me, it started as a spiritual journey. At the time I was living abroad, and there was this sort of fast that I went through. And in that fast, I felt sort of led to certain things, certain types of foods and holistic foods, right? And the more you read about foods, especially when you're abroad in certain countries, you realize there's a lot of hormones and artificial products and things that are just not supposed to be in a food we're taking in.
Yeah.
And that awareness and that searching of knowledge in terms of what sort of food should I really be eating led me to sort of realize that, especially for me at that time, things such as dairy, meat, fish. And I'm not saying these things are bad, but for my own journey at that point just became almost impossible to have because unless I was having them organic, which was that's a state you can actually eat the meats and the dairies because they're not infused with hormones and all this stuff. You can't have it. And it was too expensive for me. Okay. So it was also like a financial thing. I was like, okay, I can't buy, $8 for like 2 pieces of meat.
Yeah.
I might as well not have it.
Wow.
And that just started the journey. And slowly by slowly, the way I even started to feel.
Change.
Yes. I'm usually an energetic person, but it would get to a certain point in the day, I would just crash. And I would just be dead.
Okay.
But when I started giving up meat, there was a clarity that came to me that I never felt before. And it happens to a lot of people too, because every once in a while.
I've heard that,
Yeah.
I've heard that.
I'll challenge even like people like, just try and go like 2 weeks without meat. And they'll be like, yeah, you do feel different. You feel lighter internally too. There's like an internal mechanism change. So for me, that was been the most exciting part.
Interesting. I spoke to someone actually who said that sometimes for her, she feels like it's, that you are connected to the spirit too. So it's not just like you're eating and it's like, whatever. But so I guess in some ways there's also the lightness of having to, to end that kind of connection with an animal, which seems a little like,
I know,
airy-fairy, what are you talking about? But I think there's something there. I think there's something there.
I agree 100%. And I know you get into that dicey, like, what are they talking about? These philosophical, spirits. What's that about? Animals.
Interesting.
Yeah, because and then you'll have people tell you, well, plants have life too, don't they? And they do. Everything has life form. But I just feel for me, when I take the life forms of plants and vegetables, I don't feel the same way as if I was to do that with animals. And growing up as a kid, I would see like animals getting slaughtered. And I'd be like, oh, okay, it's part of what we do. But now I'm like...
it's a little tough, huh?
It's a little tough.
Chelsea, are any of your friends vegan by any chance? Was that what partly... I don't know, influenced your decision, or where did that come from?
Yeah, a couple of my friends and I were like, let's all go vegan. And then after 2 weeks, they all left me.
Abandoned ship. This
no,
is
thanks.
tough.
I need meat. And I was like, you know what? I I had a bit more motivation.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm going to go the full 2 months. And it ended up going well. This time around, I think it was just more personal.
Right.
Yeah.
And at any point, did you feel like quitting?
Not necessarily. I don't know why. Maybe just because of also like how you were saying, it made you feel lighter. Personally, I would deal with a lot of stomach issues, I guess. And to this point, we still don't know why.
You used to, or you do now?
No, I used to.
Oh, yeah. So when you were like eating all sorts of foods,
yeah.
you would have it. But now that you've been vegan,
it's like almost completely subsided, and that may not be exactly the same reason, but I'm guessing it has something to do with dairy, seeing as because I might be lactose intolerant, maybe. But as for the moment,
Wow, interesting. And did you have any kind of temptations? Like, you know, Georgina said for her it was cheese, and she'd like sneak one in. So is there something that you have, you know, sometimes just naughtily?
I am a very, very sweet tooth.
By the way, I should say that's like aunt and niece.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
No, I am a very sweet tooth, right? And so I tend to lean more towards hard candies.
Yeah.
And since I was cutting chocolate out of my diet, it was easier than a lot of people would say. Any temptations though? Maybe like I'll be sitting around the dinner table and they'd place chicken right in front of me.
Oh my God.
And it's like a really good day, right? And I'm just so hungry. And so I would be like, not today. But
wow. It takes a lot of willpower, huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Any of your family members vegan?
So my sister is.
Okay.
So my sister, and we eat largely plant-based, but family gatherings, totally different story.
It's tough, right? And no one cares. It's like, that's good, you know, you're vegan, I'm going to eat this.
Yeah.
So how is it when you walk into a restaurant? Because we don't have, I know you have one.
A cafe.
And it's, a cafe, and it's like, of course, like the vegan angle is very strong, but when you walk into other restaurants, you know, a lot of them don't have that vegan culture yet. We might have vegetarian options, but not necessarily vegan. What is that ordering process like when you're going through the menu?
I'd have to say, I think part of the challenge maybe in terms of when you think about veganism is not necessarily the restrictions, right? It's also all the other options. Because if you think about it, the only thing you're taking out is milk, eggs, and meat. Everything else.
Is that only? And animal products? Like
So like any meat, and by meat I mean all sorts of meats, including fish and chicken. I know there's a theory in Kenya that chicken is not meat. Yeah.
But like Rosanna Leo was saying something like honey would fall as part of that.
So they are, So they're vegans who don't do honey. Yeah. Personally, I do. Do you do?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I do honey.
Okay.
It's just one of those things I'm not convicted personally, but there are vegans who can't have honey.
Okay.
But most of them do. But it's just the main animal products. And then there's also the classification, is a bee really an animal or an insect?
Oh.
So.
I'd say it's insect. We're good. Yeah. You're good. Don't worry about it. You're good. Yeah. No, you're all good. So, don't take out honey.
Yeah.
So essentially it's like meats, you said, dairy.
And eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So the challenge is because they do use a lot of those products in most of the foods, right?
Yeah, like a croissant. Then you can't have a croissant. You can't have a croissant.
I mean, you can find a vegan croissant somewhere.
You can find a vegan croissant.
But yeah.
The good thing is there's a vegan version of everything.
Okay. Even
meat.
croissants. Yeah.
Even croissants.
Okay.
Even chicken tenders.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
So when you're shopping, when you're out grocery shopping, do you think is that tougher? And I imagine like out say in the West, you've got a lot more options. I've seen like vegan chicken, vegan ice cream, vegan everything. Is that the same here?
I think it's even easier because it forces you to stick to the plants. And the vegetables.
Right.
Because honestly, like for me, it's so easy when I go shopping. I just literally just stick in the grocery, like the vegetables and fruits and I'm amazed at how many options there are. You know, and you go to City Market. Like for me, I love going to City Market because, I mean, it's like heaven over there. Right. So that's why I think people should think about it, not what you can't have. But there's so much more you can eat.
Yeah.
Literally everything else is good for you.
Yeah.
There's tons of grains, like Roseanne was talking about, which can be a little bad. I'm not going to get into that. Tons of veggies, tons of fruits. It's all open to you.
Right.
It's just, you can't do milk. Can't do eggs.
Yeah.
And you can't do meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, cheese.
That's a hard
But there's
one.
vegan cheese now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So how have people responded to you when you've said you're vegan? What are some like common misconceptions?
Oh, it's hilarious.
Okay, tell me, Chelsea. Like, what do you hear?
It's so funny. Like, I'll go to school and I'll be eating, like, at least 3 times a week, I'll have salad for lunch, right?
Okay.
And so I'll open it up and they'll be like, why, is that your lunch? I'll be like, yeah. Where's your food? They'll be like, why are you only eating that? Where's your meat? Where's your whatever? And I'm like, I'm vegan, I can't eat meat. They're like, oh, what? And I'm like, it's not that bad.
Right.
But I don't know, there's this misconception about vegans being able to eat absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And then the fact that it's like so hard to be vegan, it's not really.
Right.
Yeah, once you get into it, you know, it's.
You find your rhythm.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess, letting go of some of these things that maybe for 20, 30, 40 years have been such a part of your lifestyle seems impossible.
Yeah.
What about you? Because you've been a vegan for 7 years-ish.
So, good vegan.
Good vegan, 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's happened?
So I think for me, the hardest, it's getting people to get over that. Once you get over it, it's trying to get people to get over the fact that this is still food. I have so many friends that I'll be like, oh yeah, here's a meal. They'll be like, well, where's the meat? Like, it's not food.
And that's a Kenyan thing. Huh?
Yeah.
If you do not have meat on the table, I don't know what this salad is. Like, I'm not going to do anything with this. Like,
exactly.
yeah.
Or I'll be excited about a meal I've made and I'll send a picture to my friend and they'll be like, is this for a rabbit? And I'll be like, no, it's human food. But
It's really delicious, I imagine.
No, it's great. And when you, like you're saying, get into that rhythm, it gets okay. And you can be annoying because you have to, especially when you go out into restaurants.
Yeah.
You literally have to walk them through when you say, I don't do dairy. You have to be like, no, did you cook with butter?
Okay.
No, did you use cream?
Yeah.
Because sometimes they just think dairy, milk.
Yeah.
Now you have to take it a step further because what I've found out over the years, because actually this happened to me recently, some people just take it for granted that, they don't do dairy, but your body changes. When I was in my good vegan, transitioning vegan, and I cut out a lot of the stuff, I sneaked in a yogurt, and the next day, like, my nostrils were inflamed. I couldn't breathe.
Whoa.
Like, it was like that. Your body changes. And then the other day I went to a restaurant and I ordered like spinach.
Yeah.
And same spiel.
Yeah.
Does it cook with this? And they said, no.
Yeah.
But as I was eating it, something felt strange.
Yeah.
And I asked again. It turns out they put cream.
Okay.
The next morning, like, my stomach, and now I actually have like a sore throat from that. So your body actually adapts to these things.
And changes. Wow.
So you have to be extra strict once you make that decision to make sure everybody is at least respectful of those changes.
Okay. Last question to you ladies. Is it now bigger than just what you eat? Is veganism for you, like for instance, does it translate to not wearing certain like leather pieces? Or I don't like what does it really mean for you outside of just the eating? And maybe we can start with you, Chelsea.
Personally, right, if we're talking about clothing, right, I wouldn't wear animal products, not necessarily because I'm vegan, but I just don't feel strongly about how the animals were possibly treated. Going along even with why I'm vegan, I just don't feel comfortable about, like, even if a animal, right, like a chicken is treated fairly, or a pig is treated fairly, and then it's on your plate, I'll be like, okay, you can eat that, like, that's respectable. But if you know that they were tortured before going into this whole process of slaughtering and whatever, it's just unsettling. And so now if you think about clothing wise, I wouldn't want to be known for wearing something in association with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I guess as a vegan, it's strengthened now.
Yeah.
Because no matter what, it's wrong, right?
Yeah.
And so
I hear you. Okay. What about you?
For me, it's a little different in terms of the extension of the vegan lifestyle. My sort of stronger convictions come to the environmental part of it. So there is this, not just study, but there are studies that show that the more plant-based we are, the less carbon impact we have in the environment. So for me, that's a sort of trajectory. And I know there are people who find that a little bit hypocritical, and Chelsea's over here judging me for not wearing leather. So I'm not completely averse to wearing leather.
Okay.
But I am with her in terms of how were those animals treated in the process. And it's just with everything, even with non-leather products, like regular clothing, like what was the manufacturing aspect of that? So it does extend to other social justice and environmental issues. But I don't want somebody dumping like red paint on me. I'll never wear fur though.
Right.
Fur is one thing, but leather, I think I may own a pair of leather shoes, but it's not something I seek out.
Okay.
So it's faux leather.
There is
always faux leather, guys.
Okay. Faux leather, yes, yes.
It'll still look good. I assure you.
Thank you, ladies. Thanks for sharing your journey and your story. We're going to continue this conversation with you, aren't we,
yes,
Georgina? Because we're going to talk food, and you're going to break down what actual vegan meals could look like.
Yes.
So we'll be back in a moment with Georgina, and thank you so much, Chelsea.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.